Hello there. This particular lesson is chiefly to look at grace notes that you can add to tunes. Grace notes, sometimes people call them rolls as well when there are a group of them together. But basically they are embellishments. And also slides, of course, my favourite slides. So where do we use them? Well, you use them wherever you feel they add to the actual melody and the rhythm of the melody and the style that you're playing in. So that's where you use them. Is it possible to have too many? Yes, I suppose it must be, but usually you will tend to find exactly where to put grace notes in just by, as you learn to play a tune, you'll gradually understand whereabouts they do fit within a melody without having to think about it. It's a bit like getting into a car and driving off. You don't necessarily think about it, and it's the same with grace notes. So let's have a look at these things. Right, we'll try and develop our technique at the same time. So we're going to go on to the A string, 440 Hertz hopefully, and we're going to put our first finger onto the note B. Now we're going to bring our middle finger down onto the next note, which is a C sharp. So we've got our first finger still sitting on the B and our middle finger is on the C sharp. That's very important that you keep your first finger down all the time, because what we're going to do, we're going to play the B and then we're going to put our finger down onto the C sharp and then bring it straight off. Not hard at all. That's your grace note for you. Now, when you play that over and over and over many times, you find that you can play them lightning fast. So fast, in fact, that even if you're using a good quality camera filming at 50 frames a second, it still can't see your finger move. It's amazing. You probably would need to go into high speed mode to actually see the finger move, but now I'm slowing that right down there. Now I'm putting a high speed grace note in there. Now that's the same thing sped up. Now that's a roll. What a roll is basically is where you go up and you go down and you come back again. It's dead simple really to understand. So if I'm going to turn this grace note into a roll, I'm going to play the B, I'm going to play the C sharp, I'm going to take my middle finger off, play the B again, I'm going to play the open A, and I'm going to play the B again. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes in a very, very short space of time. That's the space of time for a roll. Slowing it down. So that's really the difference between a grace note and a roll. You don't use that many rolls. You can do, I suppose. Some people's style will use a lot of rolls. I don't. I tend to just add simple grace notes. But I know some people do. I think at the beginning of the Gale, I think Doogie McLean plays quite a few rolls in his entry into that tune in the A section. So it is very effective, but it takes a lot of practice. The other kind of grace note I personally like to use is where I've got my first finger on that B again, and instead of hammering down with my middle finger, I hammer down with my ring finger. Okay, so that gives me an alternative. Now, why do I do that? Well, because I like to mix things up a bit. When I'm playing a tune, I don't consciously think about it, to be honest. I've got to a point in my fiddle playing life, as it were, where I just don't think about what I'm going to put into a tune. It just happens naturally. As I say, it's like riding a bike or driving a car. It's something you do without thinking. And grace notes are like that. So I tend to sometimes put grace notes in where I use my middle finger, or sometimes I use my ring finger. Okay, that's a very, very simple explanation of this style of grace notes. So we've got the grace note with the middle finger, with the ring finger, and of course the roll. I suppose you could do a roll with the third finger as well. So how are you going to practice this? Well, the only way, I guess, is to play it over and over again until you drive yourself crazy. And when you go and you drive yourself crazy, you go and have a cup of tea, and then you come back and do it all over again. It's like anything else, isn't it? When you're practicing to play an instrument, learning to play an instrument, you just have to do it. You can't do it any other way. You can't learn it any other way. You just have to put the practice time in. But it does come eventually. That's the thing. It does come. It does arrive eventually. Sometimes it takes longer than you might anticipate. Slides are easier. Slides are easy. All you do is you put your finger below the note you want to play, and you just slide up to the note you want to play. Sometimes you can imitate a cat meowing. You can slide down, in other words. It's great if you're playing the blues, because of course sliding up and down is spot on in that kind of music. Good fun, in other words. So keep practicing your grace notes, practice the rolls, practice the slides. Hopefully this video will have given you some idea what each of those entail. And it's fun. Try adding them to your tunes when you're playing. Just try in one or two places to add a roll or a grace note or a slide. And you'd be surprised how quickly you can start to adapt your style and add them without thinking. Okay, hope this has been fun, enjoyable and useful, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye bye for now.